Hey guys, I just want to explain something about community services. Okay, so basically, you're in a workplace, you got case studies, okay? You basically have clients, you have to care for them, okay? You have to do their washing, you have to do their, for example, their dishes, you have to wash, you have to take care of them, you have to sometimes bathe them in terms of shower them and bath them and all this. But also you have to do transportation with people in terms of take them to the shopping center, do their shopping for them. Also, you have to basically meet up with organizations around clients. Okay, so basically talking to the supervisor. Okay, getting your job description, right? You get your job description, then you have a client, you have to get in contact with the client at a certain time, so you have to wake up early to go meet up with the client. You introduce yourself, you have some icebreakers with the client, which are just questions to get the conversation flowing. You'll basically get a job description that tells you about the client, and what you do is you see where the needs are of the client, and you have to fulfill those needs for the client, okay? And then you also have to provide duty of care, which is basically providing professional service. You have to ask questions to the client, okay? You have to ask questions to the supervisor about anything you don't know. You can also call the supervisor at any time, okay, for anything that you need. In cases that the clients, for example, might be, for example, in distress or anything like that, you can also do mandatory reporting, which means you can contact local authorities, for example, to basically calm down the situation. Because if you are at harm, or if the client is at harm, you have to let someone know, okay? So that's why mandatory reporting, which means calling the police force or calling someone, basically reporting it to local authorities is the best way to do so, okay, to calm the situation. But also, I want to say that community services is a council job, it's a government job. And basically, for example, you can study this at school, okay? You can do community services Cert 2, Cert 3, you can do Cert 4 in youth work, you can do Cert 4 in community services, and you can also do diploma in school in TAFE in Australia, and also you can go to master's degree and social, so you can become a social worker from it. And then from all these community services, you have case studies, okay? Basically, case studies going into the community. You have to have your own transport. You have to be having your own driver's license. You have to have your own driver's license. For this, you have to have your own car. And then you also have to do housekeeping for the clients as well. You have to take them around to the beach or to the movies. You have to be their support network. But also you have to let them know your boundaries, and you have to know also, you have to tell them, for example, that their confidentiality is basically private, and that you won't breach privacy with them, like you will protect their information, for example. And you have to realize that, for example, you have to protect their information, okay, which means you would store it in a computer somewhere, and it will be in a system somewhere. But also you must understand to basically have protection of privacy, protection of confidentiality, and telling the client what you can and cannot do. So what you do is you would tell them, for example, oh, I can only meet with you on this day or on these days during these working hours, for example, and that's a boundary that you're setting with the client. You understand? But also, you don't want to go so deep into a conversation with a client, as in to have sexual relations with the client, because that will be, for example, a no-go in the situation of code of conduct. Okay, so code of conduct is basically where you are acting professionally with the client. You know, there's boundaries you're setting and stuff like that, and you provide duty of care, so professional help, okay, to the client. But also you have all these case studies, okay, that you have to go through, and you have many clients as well, and you're working within an organization in the 9 to 5, okay, and you're basically driving around, you're transporting people, and also you're working like a support worker, okay, and basically you're meeting up with supervisors, you can do video conferences, you can do, for example, things with clients around 9 to 5, okay, work, but you have to understand to maintain boundaries with the client. Don't get sexual with the client, okay? Don't go so much into their personal information as to have sex with them, you know? So you have to realize that you have to study a lot when you're doing community services, okay? Don't leave things to last minute, okay? So basically, get your head straight, you know, act professionally, be professional in your job, look professional, make sure you're grooming, make sure that you're getting to work on time, make sure you're getting to school on time, okay? And also make sure that you're understanding to not be late, okay? Make sure you arrive early, and make sure that you are communicating to people around you, okay? That you're also just in a professional setting, okay? Putting everything into your own words. So whatever you study from school, make an audio program about it, for example, and put it into a program and put it on YouTube, put it on social media, make a business from it, okay? And provide life skills and provide information regarding what you do and what you study. And make programs from it and post it online to help other people become more aware of these scenarios and information. And basically with the client and community services, you'll be doing their shopping. You'll probably go maybe clothing shopping or whatever type of shopping there is, maybe to the coffee shop. You'll go with them to have a drink or dinner, or I don't know, maybe during working hours you go to lunch with them and you just talk to them, you know, and basically just care for them, you know, and you're helping them basically to live in the environment of the world, and you're providing support, communicational support, emotional support, and basically you're just there for them. They're your client, you know, and basically you're making referrals, which means that you're basically, when a client needs something from you, you provide a service or a referral, which is a list of numbers that they can call basically to go ahead and get their needs met, okay? So for example, let's say the client has anger issues, you can refer them to the counselor, and you can do that yourself. You would have to write a referral letter. You have to write a referral letter based on their worries, based on their concerns, based on any abuse they may have or anything around risk. Okay, so basically, let's say that they have some kind of risk, then what happens is there might be a harm to themselves or other people, in which you have to do mandatory reporting, basically reporting this to the local authorities, for example, okay, because they might be a risk to you or other people, and you have to protect the community, okay? So then also abuse, for example, they might be going through some abuse, like domestic violence or any type of abuse with peers or friends that they might have or whatever. So you also have to do some mandatory reporting here, and you have to report this to local authorities. So you can report it to the supervisor and ask for guidance, or you can, for example, ask you can report it to the police, because it's not good when someone's in a form of abuse in terms of something that's at risk or something that is very, let's say, specific to harm to that individual or other people around them. Okay, so you have to report it to local authorities. Make sure you set boundaries, tell the clients and tell the supervisor what you can and cannot do, for example, so that you let them know of your knowledge about the situation, so you can get a job, or so you can, for example, apply for a job or whatever it is. And also make sure that you make a beautiful resume, for example, making sure you have some volunteering experience in the community or council. Make sure you contact your local council to get some volunteering, for example. And this is all going to help you with soft skills and people skills, basically to be in the community and to basically help yourself to grow yourself as much as possible. But also you're responding to client needs, you're helping the client with communication, you're helping the client do housework, you're helping the client do chores, and you're helping them basically with communication in all formats. But you're setting boundaries and not going sexual with the client, and you're not getting so close to the client, but you're remaining a distance. You're, for example, in a way that you have distance with the client, but with yourself, you go inside yourself. But you have to realize that what I'm saying is you have to be at distance with the client, not so much so close to them, okay? And basically, with everything that you are doing right now, you're going to get some case studies, you're going to get some role plays in school, for example, for community services, and you have to be able to air write and learn the information, for example, study the information, write about it a lot, try to summarize everything in an audio program that you do, and try to basically learn from the situation and learn what you're learning, okay? And basically keep learning throughout life. But also you have to realize that once you go for the interview, the supervisor or the recruitment agency might ask you about some questions regarding community services, and you have to be able to answer these questions, and you have to be able to know what you're doing in the scenario. And also the important thing is make sure that you get to work. Wake up early, get to work, and don't be late. Try to arrive on time, try to get there earlier, okay? And try to basically help yourself to get in that situation where you're working 9 to 5, okay? And that you're waking up for work, and that you're going into work, and that you're facing challenges, and that you're solving queries, and that you're solving problems, and that you're working within a team. For example, you're driving to work, you have a car, so make sure you're repairing your car so that you can get to work, all this kind of stuff, and make sure that you're learning life, but also in the process doing social media all about your business, okay? Doing basically information work, getting smarter in the process. And in school, when you go to school, make sure you're learning, for example, from the students around you. Make sure that you're prepared for what's to come. And also make sure you're writing notes down, air writing in the process, and just making sure that you get to know the client, okay? Get to know the supervisor, get to know the people around you. Okay. Make sure that you only contact the client within working hours, for example, because that's setting boundaries and that's basically part of the agreement. And also you have to realize that any problems you have, you report it to the supervisor. Make sure that you're writing also your case studies down based on the clients. You're making referral letters, for example, basing it on services that you're providing to the client based on their needs. You're researching numbers, you're researching information on Google, and basically getting them services and getting them referral letters, making sure they're signing agreements, asking their consent, okay? Making sure that you're asking for their consent to work with them, and basically also just making sure that you're providing information that's relative to their needs, okay? Making sure that you're reading about the legislative policies and everything to do with private protection laws and, for example, and child protection laws, and getting to know the environment and getting to know the information so that you can do your work properly and so that you can function as a human citizen in your country, working 9 to 5, stable. You know, you got a job, you got a government job, you've got, for example, somewhere to go during the day. You're not at home, you're not stuck at home, and for example, now you can be independent because you have a job and because you study all this at school and now you're ready for a job and all this kind of stuff. So you have to realize you have to go through the information, you have to study, and you have to also learn anything you can learn, basically, and that's going to help your business to succeed. Okay. So basically also just make sure that you're brainstorming, make sure that you're talking to people in school, make sure you're talking to people in your workplace. Okay. Let's say a client gives you a tip, make sure that you receive it, make sure you say thank you, make sure you have icebreakers with the client, basically not getting so much into their personal information. Okay. Basically asking questions that's going to help them to solve their needs, asking them what do they need help with, being holistically a person who works holistically with the client. Okay, so basically asking questions based on what they need, caring for the client in questions, caring for the client in what they need help from you. Okay, so basically housekeeping, making food, buying drinks, buying food, taking them out to a restaurant, taking them out here and there somewhere, wherever they want to go. For example, to the coffee shop or to the movies, to the swimming pools, wherever it may be, you're with the client and you're supporting them, you're providing them support, and you're basically just there with the client and basically helping them with questions, you're helping them with anything they may need from you, but you're not so much going into their personal information, you know. And then the supervisor can call you to see how everything's doing. Make sure that you're writing also, for example, your notes from the situation with the clients. Briefly state in the report, okay, or in the report that you're talking about the client about, for example, what happened with the client, what tasks did you do together, is there anything that the supervisor needs to know, or is there anything like just state the scenario of what happened with the client, in the study or in the report. Basically, this goes into privacy and confidentiality with the client. Make sure that not with the client, with the computer system or in your system, it goes privately to be held by you in that system, but you let go, of course, but you have to realize, do not share their personal information with other people. That's all I'm saying. So that information will go into a computer, into a database about the client, and that information can be opened up for legal requirements. So basically that's history with the clients, and based on that, legal purposes can open up that file for jurisdiction and for laws, to place laws and conviction on people who may be guilty of something and stuff like that. So you have to realize that in your presentations of role play, make sure you're not looking at a script. You're not looking at a script like your phone or the computer the whole time while you're talking to someone else. Write notes down, but make sure that you're basically naturally flowing with the conversation with people. You're having a beautiful conversation. You're confident in your ability. You look professional. You have a professional image. You shower and groom every day. You're getting up early. You're waking up early. And also you're studying and making sure you're on top of your information, and that you're someone in your field. You're doing conferences with people, you're doing basically teamwork with people, and also you're basically learning the trade and caring for people in every single kind of way, but making sure that you're setting boundaries, not getting so close to the client, and also you're basically not having sexual contact or touch with the client in any kind of way. Okay, so you have to realize that you have to be confidential, you have to be private, and also you have to set boundaries, and also you have to just look for ideas to help yourself with, and basically just prepare for everything, because school can be pretty full on when you leave everything to the last minute. When you're leaving everything to the last minute, things can get really, let's say, how can I say, messy. It can be very messy, okay? But knowledge is messy, okay? Knowledge is very messy. And you have to realize that the way you do knowledge, okay, is you learn. You learn, but you can also think disorganized while you're learning things, but you can also think organized while you learn things. While I study community services or whatever it is, I air write through it. I air write for everything. I don't get stuck on words. Okay, my words are always moving, and I'm learning for every situation. I'm learning the school system. I'm learning, for example, how to open up TAFE documents or files or information and get my message across in different kinds of ways, using office work, for example, and basically making video programs and audio programs based on what I learn in school and based on what I learn in my life, to apply the information in my life so that I have a better idea on how to do everything. So basically, when you get a case study, for example, in community services, you would list the needs of the client, and to find the needs of the client, you would find what the client is worried about in that case study. And then you would provide services such as phone numbers, or people, or any kind of service regarding those needs. So for example, let's say a person has a knee injury, then this person has to go to a specialist, for example, and then you'll provide a number to a specialist that they can call. Or let's say the person's unemployed, then you give them an employment service, the provider that they can call. Or let's say they got anger management issues or something like that, then you have to provide a referral to the counselor or psychologist, for example. And let's say they're struggling mentally or something like that, there's always numbers to Headspace or local departments in your country that you can give them a number to call. Okay, so you have to, as a community service member, you have to study all these numbers that you can provide. You have to have a pamphlet, you have to have a flyer that you can give to the client, but also be detailed about it and customization. Okay, so basically you have to tend to the needs of the client, because each pamphlet's different, each thing is different, but each client is different also. So you have to provide certain numbers and certain things that they can call on paper. You can write it down for them. These numbers, you search it up on Google, wherever it is. You write it down, the number for them, they go call the number, and then you have to also set up a following appointment with the client. You have to arrive on time to meet the client. You have to also give the client a call. You have to give a supervisor a call, for example, and you have to talk to people, You have to talk to people to achieve your dreams. So you have to basically report anything of an incident to your supervisor. You have to report incidents to local authorities, okay? And you have to also help yourself to understand the information that you're learning, and you have to brainstorm ideas and understand the information in terms of learn it and provide information online, be a service provider, for example, be someone in the community helping people, okay? And be socially adept, okay? So make sure that you're socially adequate, and also that you're brainstorming ideas, writing notes down with the client while you're with the client, and also helping them with anything they need, helping the supervisor with anything they need, and make sure that you're learning on the job, that you're getting work experience, that you're volunteering, for example, with your local council. That's where you get community services jobs, which is local council, okay? And message them, email them, and see what happens. Keep messaging, keep emailing local councils for jobs or for volunteering work. Okay. Message different ones. Okay. See if you get a contact back. Okay. In terms of see if they reply to you or not. I'm sure someone's going to reply to you, and I'm sure you'll get what you need. So you have to realize that you have to get your contact, and you have to also basically help them, and you have to help the world around you in some kind of way. And you have to provide summaries and information based on what you're learning in your field of work. You understand? So what else is there? I can say basically you're helping the client, taking them to a doctor, taking them somewhere. You're driving your own car, they're in your own car, and you have to have transportation for this. You have to have your own license. You have to have your own car. You have to be also making sure that your car is maintained. You're taking it to the mechanic. Everything's repaired, and you have to realize that you have to get into the workforce. You have to start working. You have to make some money. You have to also be with people, and you have to talk to people. Okay? You have to move into new situations with new people, and you have to basically maintain relationships, maintain boundaries, okay? And basically help yourself to have a good life, that kind of thing. And basically brainstorm ideas, learn from people around you, talk to the people in your class, okay? Talk to the teachers, get some help from them. It's good to ask for help, and provide information to people, okay? let's say the teacher fails you, make sure you do it again, the assessment. You keep trying all the way, and let's say when you are studying for your TAFE stuff or school stuff, that you study early, okay? Make sure that you also realize that you are going to pass when you study, okay, about everything, and that you practice and practice and practice about the information you're learning and summarize it in videos, summarize it in audio programs, and post it on YouTube and make a social media about you. That's your resume. Your social media is your resume, and keep making content for online news, providing, sharing information, basically getting smarter for your role and what you need to do, okay? And basically learning the information of the industry that you're in and providing skills and information to people, That's what you need to do. You need to be an educator as well. You have to be a social media influencer, and you have to have a profile, and you have to do photography. Look at what I'm doing on my Instagram. I'm a life coach. I'm a music producer. I'm a DJ. I study things. I do community services as well. And besides that, my role is only getting better. I'm only improving myself. It's not too late for me. And for me, I'm more of a life coach. I'm more of a DJ and music producer. That's my career, and what I do online is my career. So I'm learning slowly the industry. I'm connecting the dots. I'm learning when teachers are giving me, for example, things to study about. I'm learning. I'm picking up the forms. I'm basically learning the information that they give me. I'm asking questions in class. I'm engaged in class. I'm listening. I'm doing active listening in class. I'm doing verbal and non-verbal communication in class or in the workplace or whatever it is. I'm asking questions everywhere. I'm communicating to people everywhere. I'm basically helping myself to get healthier and also helping myself to improve my life in every single kind of way I can, and basically providing skills and information to help other people. That's what I'm all about. And that's why I'm connecting the dots. I'm helping myself. I'm improving. And everything for this program is, how do I say it? I can say this program is now done. And please just keep sharing information that you're learning in daily life. Regardless of where you are, regardless of what you're doing, you can do it all around the world, this social media thing, and you will get there, okay? You will just get there very slowly, but you will get there surely, okay? So believe in yourself. They're not going to do your work for you. They're not going to also do job search for you, okay? And a lot of people are not going to congratulate you, and a lot of people are not going to give you feedback. But you give yourself feedback, you give yourself congratulations, you search for your own job, you also make sure to do your own work, okay? Say everything in your own words about what you're learning, and make sure you study and make sure you understand that in community services, you're signing agreements, you're signing basically, that you're referring people and that you're asking for their consent, you're getting there on time when you need to meet them, and you're setting a follow-up appointment as well, okay? And you're keeping in contact with the client, okay? So making sure that you understand those are all responsibilities, okay? You have to ensure the client's needs. You have to make sure that you're providing a standard of service, duty of care, code of conduct, protection of information, privacy, boundaries, basically collaborating with people as well, for example, and basically giving ideas, brainstorming, and helping yourself in any kind of way that you can help yourself. You know what I'm saying? So this is everything for this program right now. You know, keep learning, guys, keep improving yourself, and keep yourself dreaming.